Hello and welcome. My name is Christina from Empowered Creator. I am a mindset and conscious manifesting teacher and coach, and this is my YouTube channel. Here I talk about all things law of assumption, mindset, conscious manifesting, the quantum universe, and a lot more. And my goal is to simplify everything. So if you guys like this content and you would like to see more of it, I would love it if you would subscribe to this channel, like this video, comment on it, share it if you want, and just stick around. Also, if you need any help with your particular situation, I offer one-on-one coaching, email coaching, small group coaching, as well as custom subliminals for whatever needs you may have. If you're interested in any of these services, the links are below in the description box. Click on them and they're going to take you to my website. With all that being said, let's get to today's video. So today I wanted to make a shorter than normal video, but still hopefully very impactful. And I specifically wanted to talk about how you can change any old story with your specific person, no matter what that story is, no matter what your past might be, what the past you have with that person might be, and how you can actually do that very easily by selecting a different version of them. So just a quick refresher, there are multiple, actually infinite versions of reality that are already created for us, that are already available to us to choose from. There are infinite versions of ourselves, infinite versions of everyone else in our life, as well as everyone else we don't know, we haven't met. And there's just an infinite number of realities that is already created for us because creation is already finished. We then have the freedom to choose what version of reality we prefer, what version of reality we want, what we want to focus our attention and our energy on, and what we want to make our dominant reality in our consciousness and in our imagination. And done that for long enough, and if we sustain it for long enough, and we are consistent with it, we are guaranteed to actually see that new reality reflected in our world, in our 3D world, in our 3D reality, because this is what the law says. This is what the law is. Wherever your attention goes, this is where energy flows. So whatever you dominantly focus on, this is what is going to get reflected back to you by the mirror that is the 3D world. So then when it comes to a specific person, we are also the ones who have the freedom to choose what version of them we want to experience, what we want their dominant version to be, and who we want to see as our specific person, who we want to see in them, what version of their personality, of their character, of their behavior, of their attitude, of how they treat us, of how they are towards us and in our relationship. We choose that reality of that person as well as the reality of who we want to be in that relationship with that specific person, what we want our dominant story to be, how we want our relationship to be, how we want it to be unfolding. We are the ones who, by changing ourselves, by changing our dominant consciousness, are also going to change the 3D reality, what is being reflected back to us in the 3D. So then if we have old stories with them, where they might be triggering us, they might not be behaving the way we want them to, they might not be treating us the way we want to be treated, the relationship might not be ideal, maybe we're in no contact right now, maybe we're not together, maybe they're with someone else. There's a bunch of scenarios, there's a whole lot of different scenarios, but the point is, whatever the old story is that we don't want to experience anymore in our 3D reality, this is what we're changing. We are choosing a new version of reality, a new story that already exists, creation is already finished, and we're bringing it forth in the 3D. We're changing any old stories, not by actually literally changing the old story, but by focusing on our new story, on our new desired version of reality. What is our new desired story? What do we want to see? What do we want to feel? What do we want to experience from that person and with that person? How do we want to feel in that relationship? Because that should always be our focus, how we feel in that relationship. So we select whatever our new story is, whatever the new version of that person is, however they treat us. We choose what their attitude is, what their behavior is towards us. We choose how we want to be loved, how we want to be treated by them. how we feel in that relationship, how the experience is, what we're doing, what they're saying to us, what we're saying back to them. All these things are free for us to choose. And all we have to do is actually shift our attention from the old story to the new story. We are not actually bothering with the old version of reality. We are selecting a new version of reality, and that's what we're focusing on. We're focusing on a new version of the specific person, a new version of the relationship, a new version of ourselves within that relationship, and we recreate the relationship based on those new versions of reality that we're focusing on. Now, I know and I fully understand that we might already have our stories with that person, especially if we have a backstory that goes back several months or maybe even years. I know we've already formed our assumptions. We already have our dominant stories. We already have our beliefs. We already have our narratives about that person and about that relationship. And that's where the challenge is when we're manifesting new versions of reality. The issue is not that we cannot change it. It's more that we tend to get stuck in our memories of that relationship and that person, of things they've said, things they've done, things they haven't done, perhaps. And we just get stuck and we just overly focus on these old memories, these old stories. That is the biggest challenge. So the best way to drop these old stories is to actually always remember to shift to the new story that we're selecting, to the new version of reality that we're selecting, to the new version of that person that we are selecting. And focus on that and persist on that. And no matter what the 3D might be showing us, because the 3D might still be reflecting the old reality for a while, or it might be a little slow to change. We might be seeing very small changes, very gradual changes. They might not be overnight. No matter what the 3D throws at us and shows us, we know as conscious manifestors that we have selected our reality in our imagination, in our consciousness, and we just persist in that. We just persist in selecting that new reality, focusing on that. Now remember, your specific person, just like everyone and everything else in your world and in your reality, are essentially your mirror. They're essentially mirroring back to you the things that you assume about them, the dominant things that you think about them, your dominant beliefs about them. It's just a projection, it's just a give and take. And you are actually at the driver's seat. You are the one determining your assumptions and your dominant stories about them. And they have to reflect it. In your reality, they are your mirrors. So what that means is you can actually turn that around. And instead of getting stuck and feeling stuck in those old stories, those old bad memories, those unfavorable circumstances, fights or falling outs or things that have gone down that haven't been very positive, instead of focusing on all that, just remember that as your mirror, they have to want what you want. They are your mirror. They are reflecting your dominant thoughts, your dominant assumptions, your dominant beliefs, your dominant state when it comes to that relationship and to who they are, who they show up as. So you want to choose wisely, and you want to always remember that they want what you want. They're not against you. They're not opposing you. They're not trying to get you. They're not trying to irritate you. They're just dominantly reflecting to you what your own dominant story is about them. So if you change your dominant story about them and about the relationship, sooner or later, they have to reflect that back to you. So please remember, every time you get triggered, every time you want to give up, every time you feel stuck in the old story and you don't feel like anything is changing, remind yourself that your specific person wants that story to change as much as you do. They are your mirror. So if you want that, it follows very logically that they want that too. They want what you want. And with that, I'm going to wrap up this video here. I intend that this has helped you. I very much appreciate you guys being here, watching this channel, watching this content. I love making this content for you. And as always, I look forward to seeing you all at the next video. Until then, take care and bye-bye.